Hello everyone, this is my Unit 4 class discussion on kerning by yours truly, Adolfo Montoya. So first off, we're going to start with bad kerning since it is most noticeable when it is done. So bad kerning is easier to see. So let's start with that. Here we have a cereal box. So let's take a look at it. We have breakfast and then we have butts. So as you can see, the space between the letters is clashing in the cereal box. We need making the viewer read it as breakfast butts instead of breakfast splits. So what you need to do to fix this is have the appropriate space in between the B, the L, the I, the T, and the Z. That would make it read as breakfast blitz. So the proper spacing avoids confusion. And while this example can be pretty funny, you wouldn't want to lose your job over something like this. Here we have a street sign. And this one's easier to see as well. Here the designer needs to close the space between the N and the T to make it residence only, to once again avoid confusion and make things easier for the viewer. And here we have the mother lode. So bear with me as I can't pronounce some of these words and there is a lot to unpack from this one. So let's look at the menu. It definitely needs some improvement. First of all, we have what seems to be different fonts used throughout, and the different size, and a different size for those fonts. And the same goes with the pricing on the menu. So the word kebab looks fine. Paulette, for the most part, looks good. Hunshen looks okay. You just might need to make the U and the C a little thicker. Both looks fine. But once again, the 3.80, the 8 needs to be, I would say that the 8 needs to be the same in the same font as the other numbers, or make all the other numbers bold. When we run into trouble is in the Rindflow-ish. And here the obvious problem is with the I. And as you can see, there is a big amount of space in between the R and the I and the N. So that needs to be closed up so it can be read easier and create less confusion. Then we have the mixta, which once again, the problem is with the I, which needs to be closed up to make it easier to read and not look as if it's multiple words. Then we have gemischt, which again, the I is sticking out from the gem and the S. So you need to close the space between the M, the I, and the S. Also, for the word avec or avec, you need to close the space in between the A and the V. Because as you can see, there's not very much space in between the V and the E and the C. And this just sticks out to make it look like if it's a separate word. And then we have the same problem again with frite ou feta, which the I is once again spaced way too far apart from the R and the T, so that needs to be closed up. And something else with the OU here, I would probably make that on the same font as the other things in the menu. And here we have the same word again, Fritte, and the I is the problem once again. It needs to be closed up on in between the R and the T. So the entire menu is a bit of a mess. I would suggest making everything the same font and possibly the same size, and then having some space in between each menu item, which would be referred to as leading here in the course. Some leading in between the Pole, the Hanshen, the both, and everything else on the menu. I would also, when it comes to the cost for things, make the numbers either all the same font, or perhaps if you want the price to stick out, then you would probably make those all bold as the 8s and the 4s and the 0.50 and the 2. So as you can see, the combination of different fonts and the overall bad kerning mixed with the messy look makes the business look bad. And when you're hungry, you really don't want to be staring at a menu and just get confused. You might get a hangry customer, and nobody likes dealing with hangry customers. Moving on to good kerning, which is an invisible art form, because when something is when the spacing in between letters is done correctly, it is not noticeable, it is easy to read, and it flows fast and easy. Something that I have noticed, and this might not apply to all, is that usually the bigger the company, the better kerning in their logos. For example, here we have the Harley-Davidson motorcycles logo, in which you can see that the space in between the H and between Harley and all the letters have the equal spacing, or at least what seems to the eye to be equal spacing. Same goes for the Davidson. And then for the orange text, there's also what seems to be equal spacing among the letters. And the designer managed to do that even when it contours to the shape of the emblem of the Harley-Davidson logo. So good job on that to the designer. For the next one, we have the Netflix logo, which is visually pleasing. As you can see, once again, the space between the N, the E, and the T is visually pleasing. While it may not be the exact same space, it looks good to the eye and it flows. Something that I also noticed with certain logos is that when designing, having a colored background, whether it be black or any other color that is not white, will make the negative space pop and make it easier for you to see where there might be a need for some adjustment in the kerning. And last but not least, we have the Adobe logo, which if you look at the O, you can see that it is symmetrical, and the spacing in between this side and this side is the same as it should be. The space in between the A and the D is good. It's visually pleasing, and between the B and the E, it also looks good. So that's it for me. Let me know if I've missed anything, and have a nice day.